the very beginning. You have a business. You're a business owner, all right? We're looking at local SEO. Again, this is going to be a complete walkthrough, and on the back end too, as we're working here, I'll create a PDF file, all right? A walkthrough. I'm going to give the tips. I'll give you as many tips as I can. I'll show you paid ways. I'll show you the cheap way. I'm going to cover it all, all right? So hopefully you have some time here. I don't, we're going to get through this. And I was inspired from the young lady that I just spoke to. If you're seeing this, I'm doing this for you. All right. And two, for anyone else. Hopefully this helps you out if you're watching this. So let's start. Let's start at the very beginning. Let's say that you're a business owner. Where do you begin? The very first thing is we need to take care of hosting. All right. So the very first aspect of any search engine optimization campaign is going to be our hosting and our registration. In my opinion, due to the extra benefits, I really like to utilize Google domains for my registration. This way, we're already indoctrinated into the Google stratosphere. But I'll give you two separate options. The first option will be Google, which is $12 per domain. Another cheaper option is going to be sites like Pork Bun or your GoDaddy, where they oftentimes offer dollar domains. The next thing we need to look at is, do I want a .com, a .net, a .org, and does it even matter when we're talking about buying our domains? In my opinion, the best to buy is going to be a .com domain. Should I get an exact match domain containing my primary keyword? Oftentimes the answer is going to be no. Either go with a partial match of your primary keyword, or go for a branded domain, something that makes sense for your brand. Okay. So as far as these are concerned, I'll go ahead and briefly share this with you. So this is Pork Bun. So Pork Bun, you can go on here and you can get domains for $8, oftentimes too. I head right over here and I go to Google Domains, and you can buy domains. Now, the benefit or an addition is, if you don't want to pay for anything, when you buy a domain through Google, you can attach a free website that runs relatively quickly. All right, they index fast, but then you don't have as much customability. All right. Now let's talk about a CMS. Okay. So we've talked about hosting and getting the domain. What I think about maybe like a .com, .net, go for the .com. As far as hosting is concerned, or as far as the registration of the actual domain, you can go cheap, you can go GoDaddy or Pork Bun, but I really like to get Google, because then on top of that, all right, also the added benefit of getting a Google domain is going to also allow you to get a business email attached, along with storage and other benefits of a Google Suite account. All right. So that's that. Now let's talk about hosting. Okay. Now there's tons and tons of providers. Okay. The amount that you pay for hosting does not equate the level of service. When we're talking about hosting, it really is broken down by you have your dedicated servers, okay? You have a VPS or a virtual private server. Then you're going to have your reseller shared servers, right? These are reseller accounts. Then you're going to have your shared, okay? Now the cheapest is shared, right? But let's just point out, let's put somebody on blast. Let's say WP Engine. Now, service might be really good, right? And nothing against them, just in my opinion. This is all my opinion. I'm just giving you what I know, okay? For the amount of money that I spend there, yes, their customer service is good. Yes, their stuff is fast, but I can get stuff. I can get a virtual private server or a shared server with a cPanel for half the cost, okay? So I don't necessarily want to point out any brands. I'm not going to write it inside of here. But as far as hosting is concerned, you know, there's a lot of options out there. I really suggest going out and searching. Oftentimes you're going to find places that have deals for such a low cost. And I'll just point out a few. Now, you should do some due diligence when reading about this, but I will say this. Okay, so let's talk about hosting briefly here. When it comes to hosting, I would either go with Google Cloud or Amazon due to speed and scalability. However, if you don't have any technical ability at all and you want something easy, reliable, fast, and affordable, then I recommend getting a hosting plan that has a cPanel and purchase the add-on of your own IP address. For some examples, sites like Low End Box or sites like Hosting Talk will allow you to read reviews and get offers on hosting that's fast, affordable, and comes with a cPanel and will give you the ability to go ahead and get a standalone IP address for your website. If you want a mid-tier, there is cloud hosting available. However, if you're willing to pay the cost for cloud hosting, you might as well just get a VPS hosting provider. All right. So in my opinion, this is my opinion. I'm not going to put it into the PDF. But just to give you an idea, all right? Now things are broken down by this and some things to look for when deciding, because really at the end of the day, when you're buying hosting, you're buying a partition, a piece of a server, right? When we're talking about servers, it comes down to hardware. If we're looking at hardware, then it's all about the RAM, it's all about the hard drive. So we have the hard drive, the CPU, and so we have hard drive, RAM, and CPU, okay? Now, when we're looking at servers, it's actually considered virtual RAM and virtual CPUs, right? So let me just give you a recommendation. Things to look out for when getting hosting, because hosting is really just buying hardware inside of a server. What I always make sure of is to look at the cost ratio to virtual CPU cores, virtual hard drive space. Is the hard drive a SSD? And how much RAM am I receiving? Ideally, you're looking for a fast 40 gig SSD or more, 4 virtual cores or more of CPU power, and you're looking for at least 3 to 4 gigs of RAM. You can get by with 2 gigs of RAM, and you can get by with a HDD hard drive, but it is essential to have 4 virtual cores, 4 gigs of RAM, and an SSD, period. Along with that, I highly suggest making sure that you're getting a cPanel, not any equivalent. Yes, the equivalents definitely work and they're very high quality, but cPanel costs money. They're buying cPanel, they probably have quality hardware a lot of the times, period. Again, this is my opinion, okay? I'm just for me, I'm trying to set you up right. We're going to start, I'm starting at the top. We started with buying domains, right? So in here, we're buying domains. So buying domains, okay. What to choose. .com, .net. Right, so that's actually down in here. Okay. Should I get exact match keyword domain? Okay. 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 All right, now. So now we've talked a lot about some technical aspects. We've talked a lot about hosting and domains. And you're thinking, well, what does this have to do with SEO? It's kind of like a house. Like, do we want to build a house on sand? Or do you want to build it on a nice, strong foundation, right? You know, taking care of these small tweaks, like making sure we get a .com, making sure that we maybe have a nice branded or a partial match domain, making sure we're on fast, reliable hosting, right? Making sure that we have our business emails in order, right? These are essential. Another option that you can go ahead and do, and this is up to you, and I don't know about Wix or any of these other ones, but Duda, I will go ahead and just shout them because I do like them. I don't have any affiliate links or anything like that, but I like Duda. Duda, small recommendation, right? So Duda has a all-in-one solution that starts out with Amazon hosting. They have themes. They take care of email. The support is good. This is entirely up to you. It's just a small recommendation if you're looking to just hit the ball running. Okay. All right. So, all right. Now, as far as let's get into the SEO, because this here to me is technical SEO, right? Like, I'm not here to talk about plugins and all this other stuff. Like, these are additions. Like, this to me, the domain, the hosting, and yeah, domain, hosting, choosing your domain, that's to me is like technical. Without deep diving, like super insane. That'll get you on the right track as far as a foundation, right? This should really hit you with your foundation. So this is going to be really number one. This will get us in the door for foundation. One is technical. We're going to call this the technical foundation, okay? So these are just some technical foundational tips. Now let's start talking about this. Now, we already have our business, right? We're talking about local, right? So what are some of the first steps, okay, when we're setting up our foundation as far as the SEO campaign? Well, there's a couple of things that you're going to want to do first, and I'm sure there's a lot of fancy ways or prettier ways or whatever. But what I'll go ahead and do is I'll just give you some guidance on some of there's two things that you have to do when you're kicking off, right? Number one is we know what our business is. We know where it is, we know where we want to serve, and we know the services that we provide, right? So the very first thing that I want to do is I want to start laying out structure. But before I can lay out my structure, I need to know the proper keywords. You never, ever, we do not create a page unless its sole purpose is to generate traffic and business for us, or support a page that's going to generate traffic and dollars for us, for our business, right? Now, I'm not going to get into any advanced strategies. I just want to be able to give you a foundation and get you started and hit the ground running, okay? So the very first thing that you need to take care of are these two things. But first is keyword research. So what I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to talk about, we're going to start laying the groundwork. So what we're going to do first is we're going to do some keyword research, but not insane, right? Like, we're not doing any type of, like Matt Diggity says, a recursive keyword research. We're talking about a local business. Again, you know your services, you know what you provide, and you know the locations that you want to target. Now, later on, you might want to start hitting other smaller towns or municipalities, but at the end of the day, right now, you know what you provide and you know where you want to provide it, right? You know your brand name, you know your domain. So here's what I would recommend. I'm going to give you some expensive options, and I'll give you some cheaper options and ways that you could start doing this right away, okay? So the first thing that I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll just share with you some fast and easy ways, all right? So the very first thing that we want to take care of is our keyword research. As you, being a business owner, you already know the locations that you want to serve and the products or services that you provide, period. So it's going to be essential to figure out which keywords and location-based or geo-specific keywords, including our services, that we actually want to start targeting. Let's reword that. It is essential for your business to target keywords that have traffic or volume. Traffic is the amount of people looking for a keyword. This definition is the same for volume. CPC is the cost per click. When I mention CPC, this means what it would cost an advertiser to pay for one click on this keyword. When determining pages to create, we need to make sure that there is enough volume and it's going to be a worthwhile CPC keyword. But never make a mistake of substituting a high volume keyword instead of a high CPC keyword. I personally would every day of the week take a slightly lower volume keyword that is worth more per click. Period. Since you already know the locations you want to serve and you know the services that you want to provide, we want to utilize some tools in order to figure out where the volume or traffic is being generated and which keywords we should start targeting when developing our page structure layout plan. More on the page structure layout plan later. Okay, now I'm going to give you some variety or some spice, okay? So, the first thing that I'll go ahead and show you is, yes, there are some premier tools, or there's a lot of tools that are going to help aid. There's millions of keyword research tools. There's tons of them. There's absolutely an absurd amount. If you want a more well-rounded tool that's going to give you not only the data on the front end, like not only is it going to tell us the keyword research, it's going to help us with content, it's going to help us with cost per click and volumes, but also as we start moving through this tutorial, it's also going to help us out with backlinks, okay? We'll talk more about backlinks later and things that I feel that you will need in order to get started. But first and foremost, let's get you on the ball running. Now, this is not going to be a cheap solution, but I highly recommend SEMrush. Okay, so it's semrush.com. Okay. Or you can utilize Ahrefs.com. So in order to save money overall and have all of the data at our fingertips, regardless if it's keyword research, off-page research, even on-page research, I feel that it's essential to have a well-rounded tool. I like to use a mixture of semrush.com, Ahrefs.com, majestic.com, to get a better understanding and an overview of my campaign. If we want to go ahead and maybe save a few dollars, there are other options available to us that are going to give us the ability to go ahead and utilize these tools at a much lower cost. And these service providers are called group buys. As a business just starting out, to protect the bottom line, it's good to pay attention to overhead. So I recommend that you pay for your services that are being rendered. However, I completely understand if you would want to use a service such as SEO Tools Access, Flickover, And then there's the group by SEO Tools. I use them sometimes. But these are pretty much the ones that I use or have used as far as for our keyword research. If you want to get a fast overview when doing your keyword research, a tool that I utilize and really like is Keywords Everywhere. It's a very inexpensive tool that will allow us to see traffic, volume, and cost per click. Okay, now let's all right. So now let's get inside of here and let me share with you exactly what you're looking to do, okay? So this part will be chopped out and I'll go ahead and you can have this so you can follow along, all right? But what you're looking to do is this. Let's say, all right, so what I'll do is, I got to leave that up here. Let's say that you are a plumber, okay? So I saw on a client site that I was just looking at, they were targeting the big, let's take interior painting, okay? Let's say that we're doing interior painting. Let's say that we're doing interior painting. So this is one of the services that you provide, right? Now, we don't necessarily just want to optimize our pages, and optimization means putting keywords the right amount of times in the right places, okay? We can't just simply just say, okay, we're on our website, we're going to do interior painting. Instead, we need to figure out that happy medium. So the tool that I just mentioned was Keywords Everywhere. So if we're looking at a brief overview or a fast overview, we can just use Keywords Everywhere to start mapping out our page structure. So this is like something that we would do together, right? Like not us together, but we're going to combine these two aspects together. Meaning, I'm going to be doing my keyword research as I'm planning out the initial pages on my website. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that. Okay, so we're going to be doing keyword research and page structuring together. Okay. Okay, now, before we get into page structuring and our initial keyword research for the services and the locations that we provide, I first want to cover some of the nuances that you might have in your industry and how we can remedy and figure out which type of elements we're going to need on our pages. License numbers, comma, insurance numbers, comma, policies, comma, legal documents. Okay. So before you start doing the initial keyword research and you start laying out your page structure, and we'll do this together, I'll show you one of the ways that I really like to do it. You first need to figure out some of the nuances. Okay, now again, I generally am going to do a lot of the, like if it's a brand new build out, I want to really figure out, okay, first and foremost, I need to figure out, well, what elements do I need on the page? Meaning, things like license numbers, insurance numbers, policies, legal documents. Like, what do the top performers in my industry have that I need to make sure that I have on my site? So take it like this. So if I'm searching for interior painting, okay, and I want to rank in, say, New York, okay, but better, yeah, we'll say New York. Like, that's something that we want to win, all right? One of the first things that I need to figure out is, okay, we're not going to go to anything. We want to look for a site that's like ours, okay? So the very first thing is this. So we'll say it's Paintworks is one of the top performers. So we can see here as a clear indicator, okay, we have a phone number up here. They're listing their home contractor license number, okay? So this should be jotted down, right? So they have their licensing number, okay? They're listing some of their credentials. This might be noted, okay? This isn't necessarily a good example, but it's definitely an example, all right? Now, if you're, say, a doctor or in another kind of space like this, so what if you're doing like Doctor New York, right? So this is another place that there's going to be rules. Another one is real estate. That's really insane. That, you know, I actually passed on those because there's a lot of nuances. I'm not really a big fan of real estate, or like agencies or stuff like that. Like, but let's take a look at this. All right. So just to point this out, like the kind of things that we're looking for, like what kind of pages do your competition have? Okay. And are they listing any of that information? We also want to get a general idea of what pages our competition has on their website, including things like a blog, contact page, facts page, portfolio page, reviews page. What types of pages do they have? And what kind of information is being broadcasted visibly? We need to make sure that we have all of the trust signals in place. Trust signals are things like having a visible phone number, insurance details, along with many other nuances that need to be added to your website, period. All right, so to further get into this, so let's say it's like doctor. So we can see, okay, we have a nice phone number up here. They're listing their scheduling time. This is something that you might want to go ahead and take down. Like, okay, they're putting everything up top. Oh, they're talking about COVID. Okay, is this essential? Then we're going to go look at some of the other sites. Are they talking about it? Are the top performers talking about it? And are they doing it all front and center? Is this something I need to do? If I'm seeing top performers doing it consistently, and then I'll go to other big cities. Usually I'm going to look at big city winners, like top 3 providers, if whatever the industry is. So I'll go to Miami, I'll go to New York, I'll go to Houston, and I'll go to LA, right? I want to see what are the big Dundadas doing? What are the winners doing, right? Where it's the hardest, where it's the most competition, where you got a flashlight on you, right? Like these guys are doing it right and they're winning for a reason. So we have to figure out, well, is there certain things, like if I was doing, I forget what the word is, doctor, if I wanted to rank for doctor, I need to figure out, well, what elements do I need on my page? So these are some of the things that I want to take a look at. So we can see here they're blatantly listing it, but we can see here they have a registration page, a patient page, and a check-in online. Oh, they're doing online appointments. Oh, you get what I'm getting at? So we want to make sure that we're grabbing these elements and we're making ourselves a list. Okay, so I highly recommend jotting this down. Okay. So we will take care of that. So that's going to take care of some of those nuances. Okay, so let's just... Okay, so that's what we're talking about. So this is before we get started. Okay, so this is like before you get started. Now the next thing is going to be some of the page structuring. All right, so this is building out the structure and beginning of keyword research. Okay. All right. So this is building out the structure and the beginning of keyword research. All right. So one of the very first things that you will want to do is get a visual representation, something that you're comfortable with, regardless if it's Paint, Adobe. I personally just lay things out inside of Sheets. All right. So I'll go ahead and walk you through how we can start first laying out our initial structure while we're doing our keyword research. And I'll walk through that now. Okay. So I'll come on over here and I'll show you something that we initially laid out for a client. Pushed out a bunch of pages. You know, it was just a matter of structuring, and they wanted us to churn out some pages, and they took it from there, right? So what we can do is I'll just share you this one. I did this one public. I always, you know, there's public clients and then there's stuff that I don't necessarily ever share, right? This guy was public. He's pretty cool. And plus, I don't think I ever put the site. So this is how I generally start to lay out the website, and I want to start structuring it. But before I start structuring it, you need to know that there's always going to be some filler pages. Okay, so let's talk about this. So building out, one of the first things you do is representation. Something. Yep. So we're going to start laying that out. Okay. We're going to filler pages. Okay. So let's talk filler pages. So what are they, right? So filler pages are pages like your contact page, the About Us page, facts page or your portfolio page, along with the reviews or testimonials page. These filler pages are essential web pages that you need for contacting, showcasing testimonials or reviews, showcasing your portfolio. Really just pages that are there to support your business, where you're at, and what you do for the public. These pages need to be on the website, but are not necessarily there for ranking. All right, so now let me share this with you. Okay, so generally what I do is I come on into Sheets just like this. This is how I pretty much do it every single time. It's like a high level look. I pretty much come in and figure out to myself, okay, the green up here, you can make it any color you'd like. All right, so what I'll do is I'll make this a little larger so you can understand. This is what I do. Is this right? Is this the best? I don't know. This is what I do. This is how I've always done it. It's easy for me. If you know a better way, or if you think that you maybe want to do it a different way, completely up to you. But this will get the general consensus across. This is easy for sharing. It's what works for us. Okay. But by all means, do it however you would like. But what we want to make sure of is we come on into here, and obviously we have our home page. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right, So this is filler pages. We're going to talk about the home page now. Okay. So your home page is one of the most important pages on the entire website. However, unless you are only trying to sell one service in one location, the home page should be based around your brand. So if you are a plumber in, say, Houston, but you offer other services other than 24-hour plumbing, and you service other places than Houston, then generally do not make your homepage Plumber Houston. Make your homepage a branded asset and have your location pages do the rest. More on location and service pages later. Okay, now, so first and foremost, we know that, okay, he had, actually this was a lady, she had, I should say, a homepage, okay? Now the homepage was centralized around the business, okay? So let's just say it was A1 heating and air conditioning, HVAC, okay? So it's A1 HVAC. That's what the homepage is about. It's about your brand. Now, what we do is we came inside of here, and here, just so you understand what I'm doing here. So this is the services page, okay? And the main tag on the website, and what I mean by this is if you come into here, I'll just share with you this. I'll just share with you mine, just to make it simple, okay? Why is this giving me a hard time? I'm probably typing it in wrong. All right. So what I mean by the main tag. So this is the navigational bar. Okay. Okay. Let's call it that. Okay. Okay. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is the navigation. All right. So it made the homepage about the brand, right? It's optimized around the brand. It's in the URL, it's in the title, and it's in the H1, okay? It's the brand. Now, when we're talking about, if we're looking at this page here and you can see, okay, I wrote services, and these are our service pages. However, the actual page that's housing all of these is called heating and air conditioning. Okay, now this is a big keyword, heating and air conditioning. All right, so my services, it will say services, much like this says what we do, but it goes to an SEO services page. See how it says SEO services? However, the navigation says what we do. Okay, so this is what I mean by this. We want to make sure that we're not putting out anything into our structure that isn't centralized around a keyword. Now, I use this particular type of structure because, okay, it'll say services. This is what most people will understand if they come to a website. Oh, what services do they provide? However, when we're talking about our main navigation, our header navigation, also in our footer navigation and in our sidebar navigation, we'll talk about this later. We want to make sure that we're using very specific keywords because this is going to help us when we're doing another very important asset, which we'll talk about when we get into the off-page section. But when we start doing something that's called Google My Business or Google Business Profile Manager, we want to make sure that it is blatantly obvious what we do and where we serve. So I just want to point this out to you. So the main navigation is going to say services. That's why I do it big, and then I do my colon. But the actual page is going to be heating and air conditioning. Now, our location pages, okay? Now, I explained this to the VA that I was working with. Our location pages, okay, are going to say locations, okay? However, the actual URL is going to be HVAC near me. Why? Because the near me tag, okay, or near me as a keyword is one of the biggest for pretty much every industry. It's your main keyword plus near me. So when I'm housing all of my different location pages, I want to make sure that that main structure that's containing all of these places, okay, is going to be containing near me. All right. Now, again, it's the same exact thing. We have commercial HVAC, okay? Now we're getting over here into the filler pages, all right? We have the About Us, okay? We have a Meet the Team page, okay? I wrote license number in here. I noticed that that's what we're going to need, all right? We're going to have our privacy, okay? So this is privacy, copyright, okay? So this is the copyright page, all right? This here is the sitemap HTML page. So there's two separate types of sitemaps. You have an HTML sitemap and an XML sitemap. XML sitemap you submit to Google. The HTML sitemap is for users. Okay. So this is the copyright page. All right. Then we're going to have our contact page. And then along with that, we're also going to have our media or a coupons page. I noticed that pretty much all the top providers were doing this, so I wanted to make sure. And then we're going to have a hub page or an around the web page. Okay, so these are different assets that we're on. This could be press release or media about us. This could be articles that we're posted on. We're going to what's the word I'm looking for? There's a specific word for it. Let me think of the name of it. Reciprocal link. Okay. A lot of times for some of these larger assets, I like a little bit of reciprocal linking. Like say I get on Yahoo Finance, or I get a really good citation, or I'm on Better Business Bureau. When you're on your site and you're linking over to Better Business Bureau, people never say, oh, that's a problem, but that's reciprocal linking. But what I'm getting at though is those high value assets that are high authority and high trust, there's nothing wrong with linking to these assets. It's actually a plus. It's how the web works, okay? So this is how I lay it out. I'm going to go right in here to Sheets. I'm going to make a flat line color, and I'm going to lay out, okay, here's what I want the main navigation to say, and here's what I want the URL to be, okay? This again, and then I just ran it across, right? So this is going to be HVAC near me, okay? I want the header bar to say HVAC. This is going to say commercial, but the actual tag is going to be commercial HVAC, and so on and so forth right down the line. So this is my main navigational menu. This also goes into my URL. Now, once we get into these particular services, okay, these are the main services that we provide, okay? So we have air duct cleaning, dryer vent cleaning, AC installation, UV light installation, AC blower cleaning, yada, 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 so on and so forth, okay? These are all of the services that are being provided, okay? Now, these are the locations that we provide them in, all right? Now, what we want to make sure that we do, all right, is we want to get out there and we want to figure out, let's just take this, or we'll go to another example, all right? So let's come back over to here. I guess we could get rid of this now that we made the example. All right, we can give this as a... Can we go to edit? Well, all right. So we have our, let me see where we're at as far as our guide is concerned. Because again, this has to be overview. I mean, I can keep drilling down farther and farther and farther and farther. I mean, I could make this completely absurd, but I want to give as much of a general overview, but far more in depth than any other video that I've seen out there so far. But I want to make sure that it's efficient, right? All right. So we have our filler pages, okay? We've talked about the home page and the importance of keeping it branded, okay? Now, we also want to make sure we're going to talk about these internal pages. Main navigation, headings that are shown to actual users, and what you put into your URL can be wildly different. Meaning, when you're on your website and a user lands on your website and they want to see your services, the main navigation can say services, but it will take them to a keyword-rich URL. So an example, okay? So I'll give you an example. So don't do this, okay? So don't do this. All right, so don't do this. So don't go https:// you know, yourwebsite.com/services. No, don't do that. Instead, do this, okay? So it's https:// www.your, okay, yourwebsite.com/ I don't know. It could be anything. It could be how about near me? Okay. Let's say it's near me. Okay. You could go dash or no dash. It really doesn't really matter. Okay. So this is definitely recommended. I would try to keep that in line. Okay. So this talks about the main navigation and the URLs. Okay. Use keywords. No one is looking for your website.com services. They are, right? Like, they're not looking for that, right? They simply aren't. So we want to make sure that we're keeping it specific. Now, another thing that I would make sure of, okay, since we're doing this more on a beginner note, that's something that I always see, is, and this is all playing in together, we want to make sure of this, okay? Let's go ahead and make this. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about top level category pages, okay? All right, so top level category pages. Okay, so there's actually and keeping the site flat, okay? So top level category pages and keeping the site flat, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to use an example that I always use because a lot of people know who this is, and it's going to furthermore explain the concept of, okay, not only do we want to keep the website flat, and I'll explain that in a second, but also utilizing, okay, we're showing the users one word, but they're actually going to a keyword-rich page, okay? Now, a really good example of this, and I use this example all the time because anybody that's doing SEO has probably ran across either this man's YouTube channel or their blog, okay? If you're doing anything in SEO or learning SEO, you've probably ran across Backlinko, right? I hate to admit it, but you know what? He's got some pretty good writings. Some of his stuff's pretty good, and obviously he must know what he's doing, right? Maybe. So with that being said, to further show this as an example and to explain top-level category pages to you, I'm going to go ahead and show this to you. So if you go to backlinko.com, okay, This is Backlinko. He's on YouTube, also probably ranking for some pretty strong SEO type keywords. If you come in here, he's going to demonstrate for us, and he's wildly regarded as a top SEO expert, right? So he's going to help me explain my point here, okay? Now, his blog is the staple point, all right, of his website. And just to show you what I mean by keeping the website flat and utilizing, see, his structure, he says blog I'm a user. I came to the website. It says blog. Now, when I click on this, it might say blog, but I'll show you something even better, all right? Because this is his main thing. People are looking for the Backlinko blog, right? So that makes sense. But furthermore, this right here that we're on, his blog page, is what I call a top-level category page. Let me explain. So a top-level category page is a page that is going to house all of your other pages. Now, this doesn't have to be a blog page like Backlinko's using. This can be a location page, okay? Furthermore, this could be your near me page, okay? So instead of this saying blog, it could say near me in the URL, and now I'm targeting all of those big, like, hey, if you're a plumber, now I'm targeting some of these near me pages, right? Like it could be near me plumber. That could be the URL that you use if in your area, if that's going to be relevant for you. I'm just using that as an example. So he wrote blog here. We'll just keep the structure the same here just to show you. It says blog. Now these guides he wants to rank. Please always remember Google ranks pages, not websites. And I want to put that in here. Okay, so I want it right. Please remember as a massive note that Google ranks pages, not the entire website. So we want to keep the structure flat in order to showcase the page's overall strength. By furthering out the structure, we're showing less and less importance to the next pages in the structure. Let me give you an example. Okay, I'll give you an example here. So if it's www.yourwebsite.com / and let's say that you do locations, okay, and then you decide to do I don't know, New York, okay, New York. And then you decide that, okay, this is New York, and this is my hardware page, okay? And then inside the hardware page, this is going to be a, inside my hardware page, maybe, or let's keep this more local, okay? Let's try to keep it. So I click on locations, I click on New York. Then when I go to New York, it's going to be plumber 24 hour, okay? And then on that 24 hour, I want to say the next page is going to be, I don't know, Miami. Okay. So now I've been able, or not Miami, it's going to be Manhattan. Okay. So as we're going down in here, we're showing less and less importance as we're going here. So we have our locations. We go to New York. We do plumber 24 hour. Okay, so maybe not throw it all the way on there because that would go off of what I'm trying to say here. So what I mean by flat is not making subfolders like above. However, you want to keep your site flat to show importance to the page you want to rank, okay? So try to keep the pages flat like this, okay? And let me go ahead and show you what I mean by this. So we're going to use that exact example that we're using here. So you have your www. What did I use? Yourwebsite.com, okay? But we know that we are a, first and foremost, we will never put locations, right? I would never do that. But I might go for, / New New York 24-hour plumber. Okay? So instead of having it showing less and less importance as we go here in the structure, now there's a time and a place for structuring things out into subfolders. There's a time and a place for that, but not in a beginner session, right? Like if you're doing supporting content or whatnot, fine. When we're talking about, I want to rank my page, I'm a plumber and I do 24-hour plumbing and I want to win that page, then I want it to be my website. I want it to be as close to that root as possible. I need to keep my site flat. I want to win that page. Show importance to that page. Don't structure that sucker out. And Mr. Dean here is going to give us a prime example of how he does that. So we're on his blog. But if I want to go to the Video Marketing Definitive Guide and I click on this, it's going to take me to / Video Marketing Guide. This is the primary keyword. We have it in the URL. I guarantee you it's going to be in his H1. Yep. Video Marketing Guide in the H1. And then let me guess, he's probably going to use the word video marketing or guide multiple times inside of his other H tags, just as a further example. So let's just take a look here and see what he's done here. Video, okay. Video, okay. There's product explainer, video, okay. Let's keep going here. Right, video, and I could go on and on. I just want to point this out to you, okay? So, this is what I mean by keeping it flat. And this is also what I'm explaining by a top level category page. This, if we're thinking about it, this could be the near me, okay, / and these right here would be your list. This right here could be Manhattan, okay? This right here could be Brooklyn, okay? This right here could be any of those municipalities, right? So instead of it being video marketing, this could be one of your locations. But this is your top level category page, okay? This is going to house the other pages, and then you can start structuring out as you want. So I hope that explains what a top level category page is. So top level category pages and keeping the site flat. I hope that explains that in this particular section, okay? Now, let's talk about, all right, so we've made our homepage branded. We use keywords no one is looking for. Use keywords no one is, don't use keywords no one is looking for in your URL. The URL should read how people search for your keywords, okay? That's a massive tip for you, okay? Top level category pages and keeping the site flat. Okay, we talked about that in this section. All right, so now the next section, what we're going to talk about is laying out the structure. All right, so let's start laying out some of the structure and doing the keywords and trying to figure out. Let's call this planning site structure based on keywords. Okay, let's get into this. So I want to cover planning out your site structure based on keywords that have high volume, high traffic with some cost per click or higher cost per click, period. When deciding which keywords to go with, we want to make sure that we're choosing keywords in the right order that people are actually searching for. As an example, this comes up a lot. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this. So do I want to have, so let's do an example, okay? Are people searching for, okay, and here's the actual example. Are they searching for plumber in Miami? Okay. Or are they searching for plumber Miami? Or are they searching for Miami plumber? Okay. Yeah, I hope that you get the point here. And this could be different. Okay. So let me go ahead and share this with you. So here's what I mean by this. So if you want to do your keyword research using a cheap tool, all right, like I'm going to show you right now, this is a fast way to, especially as you're laying things out, or you can go in and do search by search inside of a tool. But a nice fast way to do it is I get keywords everywhere. It's $10. They give you like, I don't know, 50,000 credits for $10. It lasts forever, and it gives you a glimpse of what we're trying to do here. So what you can do here is this. So if you come in here, and we're going to use that exact example that's inside the PDF, all right? So this is the follow along walkthrough or video. So with that being said here, let's take a look at, I think I did plumber in Miami, okay? So we're searching for plumber in Miami. And this has a 1600 volume, and it's $10.50. Okay, so that's plumber in Miami. Now let's search for plumber Miami. Okay, so we're going to bring this up, 1600, 1051. So plumber Miami is the same. So we'd probably go for the shorter. Now let's search for Miami plumber. Okay, so Miami plumber. This one's still 1600, so that's a good sign. So let me show you a better example where I know that there's variance. So let's take, for instance, let's keep going on this. So maybe it could be plumbers. Okay, now all three of those were the same, but let's do plumbers in Miami. Like, this is what I mean by picking keywords that have volume. These ones are all pretty much the same, which is cool. That's a good thing. So this means you could probably get in there with a finely tuned page and having your variations in the heading text, right? So plumbers Miami. All right, so it's pretty much sticking the same. And then Miami plumbers. Let's try that one. Okay, still 1600. So this is a good example. Like, this is a pretty cool sign. But let's take, for instance, chiropractor, because I know that this is different. So chiropractor, Los Angeles. Okay, so let's look at this. Chiropractor Los Angeles has a volume of 3,600, and it's $6. Now if I search for Los Angeles chiropractor, okay, same exact thing, just in reverse, then we have only 320 volume, and it's $6.21. So the volume literally is like more than half less, okay? Or if I'm going to do, let's stick with the other one, chiropractor in Los Angeles. So this is what I mean by determining which keyword am I going to, because remember, we need our URL to read just like people are searching. So yourwebsite.com, do I want it to say chiropractor in Los Angeles? Do I want it to say chiropractor Los Angeles? Do I want it to say Los Angeles chiropractor or Los Angeles chiropractors? Like, which keyword do I want to target? I know the service I provide. I know what location I'm going in, but what keyword do I want to target? Okay, I hope I've hammered this home, because this is very, 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 very important to understand. This particular concept is essential, okay? I know that this is super beginner for some from my normal videos, but I wanted to do this and make sure that it was very Like, this is 101 stuff, right? But this is fundamental stuff. It's very, very important. Okay. So this is chiropractor in Los Angeles. Okay. All right. So let's give an example here. We'll give that one. So chiropractor Los Angeles or Los Angeles chiropractor, right? Or chiropractors Los Angeles. Okay. We want to make sure that our URL, our structure, reads how people are searching for the keywords. We want to make sure that we are choosing keywords that have volume, and we are following volume, and we are optimizing our pages around the keywords that have volume. We want to ensure that our URL, our title, and our H1 contain the keyword that matches our business and has volume. More on on-page optimization later. Okay, so I hope that takes care of that. So far we've talked about the top level category pages, keeping the site flat, planning the site structure based on keywords, right? So we're picking keywords, the variation, like how are we going to lay this out? Is there volume? We want to make sure that that's all laid out, right? So that's one way to go about it. You know, you can literally do it this way, or all right, if you're willing to pay money, again, Ahrefs or SEMrush, or you can use like a group buy, where if you want to have access to a lot of different tools, like I like to have. I like to look at different tools to get a general consensus of what's going on. I want to look at a lot of different opinions, really. So I usually just come inside of here. Like, you pretty much know your services, you know what's going on. I like to come inside of here, inside of SEMrush. So if you're curious about how to use this, or for what we're talking about now, figuring out which keywords to go for, which other keywords can we go for, what should we write about, I just come in here to the keyword magic tool, and then this is going to give us the all the different variations, everything all at once. You don't have to do it one by one. However, if you buy this tool outright, it's not cheap. And if you buy a group buy, it's going to be slower than just typing it in and figuring it out quick and then putting it over on your list, right? Because right now we're just laying out structure. We're not doing gap analysis. We're not doing thinking for blog content. Like, we're just laying out our initial structure. Which keyword should we be targeting? Okay, so we'll take a look at that one. We're going to do Chiro, CHIRO, Practor, Los Angeles, just like we did in the example inside of the PDF. And I just want to show you inside of here briefly. So much like this, so you can see the wildly different really fast, but again, you pay for data, right? So to be able to get results fast like this and have everything, it's not cheap, right? Or you have to do a group buy. Okay, so you have chiropractor Los Angeles with 3,600 volume. The keyword difficulty score is a 50. This is a difficult keyword. Best chiropractor Los Angeles, chiropractor in Los Angeles, California has 140, but it's still just as hard. So like this is where you need to start figuring out to yourself like, hey, do I want to go for something that's ultra hard that has 140, or do I want to go after something that's hard that has 3600, right? And then you want to start looking at your cost per click, right? Like Chiropractor West Los Angeles, as we can see here, this is a $6 keyword. So of course, like if you're in Los Angeles, you're gonna have your Los Angeles page. But we know as a mental note, like, hey, we need to have another centralized page targeting Chiropractor West Los Angeles, because not only can that support the main topic of our website, but it's also a high value keyword. When I see high cost per click, that means that, yeah, there's only 110 people, but there's buyers here, okay? So with that being said, that's just a brief overview of looking at the same type of concept, but within a tool, a paid tool, okay? And I'll go ahead and leave this up for other chats. So we'll just go talk to some people. Hey, Chase, good to see you, bro. Thank you for the donation, brother. I appreciate that immensely. I'm just going to welcome everybody. I know that this is a tutorial or guide, a basics guide. Hopefully you've enjoyed so far. I know it's basic. It's a little far off, but if you've enjoyed anything, please give me a thumb. If you disliked it, let me know. So how to find edu redirect footprints, I share that on my site. You can have it. And I use Scrapebox. Andrew Smoothen says, hi, Google. What's up, legend? What's up, William? Good to see you, brother. Hassan Jama says, how to rank for YMYL. You know, that's a little bit outside the scope of today's video. I just want to welcome everybody. You know, if you have a basic or beginner question, I mean, we're trying to stick beginner here today. APK Club says, hey, Google, redirection backlink is not indexed. I am checking it in Ahrefs, your website tell me. Yep, still waiting for some of the reports from Omega. They didn't deliver it yet. Thank you for the Word Hero recommendation. Picked up a lifetime sub on AppSumo last time you talked about it. Yeah, Word Hero's pretty cool. It's the reason why I even play with it is because it was unlimited. I was a little upset though because I bought the updated version, like with the editor or whatnot. Like I bought the best that they had, and I was hoping that it would really churn out a lot more content. But with that being said, it does work efficiently. It's for the money, you can't go wrong. So that's all good. ToolSurf. So ToolSurf's another recommendation if anybody's looking at group buys. That's a good one. Good stuff. Awesome. And simply but a great foundation. That's it. All right, so cool. Let's keep going on here. We're gonna keep going on here. So planning site structure based on keywords, very, very important. Keeping the site flat, very important. Okay. So far we've talked also about top level category pages, keeping the site flat. Talked about branding out the home page. Unless you only sell one product in one location, right? Filler pages. What's a fill page, right? What are filler pages? Building out structure in the beginning of keyword research. All right, so keyword research and page structuring together. Okay, now we're gonna start. We're laying this out. So basically, okay, if we're going to start laying this out, let's walk through this particular portion here. So I just want to just so I know for future when I chop this out. 120. Okay, so at an hour 20, at 1 hour 20 is when we started talking about the mapping. Okay, so now we're gonna start talking the keyword structure mapping. Okay, so this is how we do it. Well, one way you can do it. Okay, it's probably an easy way or a fast way. It's pretty much one of the ways that I do it. So we know that we have our services. Okay. We know that we know the locations that we want to go. All right. So how we want to go about doing this is this. So the very first thing that I do when I'm doing keyword website structuring is I want to open up my Sheets file and I want to lay out the filler pages talked about above. Okay. Now, what I'll generally do is I'll just come over to here again. Like I mentioned, I use Sheets pretty much all the time, unless the client has something fancy. Sometimes I'll use ClickUp. It doesn't necessarily matter. I want to show it an easy way. So I'll literally come into here, and the very first thing that we want to do here is we want to go inside of here. We want to come up into here, and we want to go ahead and make this like a light blue maybe. I like it to be a lighter color, to be honest with you. So like this, so we'll maybe do a purple. We'll make this bigger. I'll also make the numbers bigger so you can get a general consensus of what I'm actually doing here. I'll probably space these out, right, like this. All right. So, and then I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to start labeling these, right? So we're going to have our home page. All right, so I'll go here, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here. So I'm going to do my home page, okay? And then I'm going to put a colon, and then I'm going to type branded, okay? So branded, all right? So it's going to be, I'll usually write it out like, you know, website.com, okay? So, and this is going to be branded. That's what it's going to be. Next is, again, I'm usually going to lay out my filler pages, and I'm usually going to lay them out over here, right? So some of the filler pages are always going to be your contact page, okay? So you'll have your contact page. Another filler page is going to be a facts page, okay? Another is going to be a reviews page, okay? Another one that you're going to want to have is going to be the About Us page, okay? Or more importantly, the Meet the Team or Meet the Crew page, all right? Now, so we have our Meet the Team, we have our reviews, we have our facts, we have our contact information, and you can combine these. I just want to lay this out for you. You might want to do it in around the web, or you can combine the around the web page on your contact page. You can also do a coupons page, right? A coupon or discounts page. Again, these elements here can be circumvented with the contact page. Then we're going to go ahead and lay out the structuring for generally. I'm going to come inside of here and I do it two ways. I'm either going to just do a flat services and run it down and use my locations in a sidebar depending on how many locations there are. Or I'm going to do a location and a service, okay? Generally, if I'm going from state to state, I'm going to have locations and I'm going to have services. If it's all inside the same state, but I'm going to target a lot of different cities, then I'm going to run just services. Maybe that is a good, let's talk about that, okay? And this part is going, because this is important, we're going to talk about 125. So this is 125. We're going to be talking about multi-state or, okay, is it multi-state or just multiple locations in same state, okay? So let me go ahead and explain this to you. I think visual representation is probably the best way. I'm a visual learner. I assume that you are as well. Since I'm going to be using this inside of a mini training, I guess, inside of like a, I don't know, a $15 little PDF or a $9.99 tripwire, something cheap that is helpful. What I'm going to do is I'll take my time here. So let's discuss this. All right, and then I'll do it with you as well. So multi-state, all right, so is this going to be multiple states or just multiple locations in the same state? All right, so let's talk about this. So when we are setting up our when doing keyword structure mapping, we need to first be aware, are we going to be targeting multiple states, or are we going to be targeting multiple locations in the same state? When targeting multiple states with multiple services, it's good to have two separate pages, one for locations, one for services. However, if we are targeting multiple services in the same state, have multiple services, but we're servicing multiple locations inside the same state, I just want to create a services tab. Please revert to the video for further explanation. Okay. All right, so let's get inside of here and we're going to talk about this. So first we're going to talk about the first piece. Okay, I want to get this out here. So if we have, all right, if we are going to have, we're going to be targeting multiple states with multiple locations and multiple services, then we want to have our locations and our services tab. Let me go ahead and draw out what I mean by this. So you will have your home page. Okay, so we're just going to call this home. Okay, so we're going to have our home page. You'll have your locations. So we'll just call this LOC, locations page. And then we'll also have our services. Okay, services page. Okay, so this is our locations page and our services page. And then we'll also have our filler pages like the contact page. Okay, and we'll also have our facts page. All right, you know, you might have reviews, meet the team. You're also going to have your sitemap, the Copyright Act. You'll have your GDRP, your cookie policy, your compliance policies, your licensing, like whatever else you need, you'll have that too. But we're just talking about, we're targeting multiple states inside of and multiple services. So I'm going to have my locations and my services. Now, what I will do here is this locations page, okay? All right, what I'll generally do here is inside of my locations page, I'll generally call it keyword specific. So it'll be like, I don't know, this is probably going to be like a drop down that's going to contain, you know, New York. It'll contain, I don't know, Texas. All right. It'll also contain, say, Florida. Okay. And this is my locations. Then I'm gonna have that actual tab on the page, and it's gonna have my Texas, Florida, New York page. Now what I will do inside of here is when I click on, all right, so say I do a click on the Florida page, all right, it's going to take me, all right, to a page that is going to have my Florida locations listed. All right, so you're probably going to have, all right, so say I'm doing Florida, all right, you're going to have your location-based services here, okay, and say a sidebar when you have your content, okay, so this is content, and this right here is the Florida page, okay, so this is the Florida page. Listed on here, this is the Florida page. You can list these as location, because remember, we're doing multiple locations in multiple states. So it's just like if I'm running straight down as a service page. I'm going to list out all of my different locations. let's not do it. Let's not draw it because that's going to take me for freaking ever. Let's get a good example instead. It's so much easier. See, the problem is, though, a lot of sites are running off of authority, not super high-classed SEO. But let me think to myself here. Who would have, let's go to Homeadvisor. Everybody knows what Homeadvisor is, right? Okay. Okay. So this is multiple services in multiple states, I believe. Okay. So let's come on into here. Let's see how they're listing it out. Okay. So they're doing it as, okay. You know how I said, like, hey, we're going to target multiple, like, if I'm in one state, I'll just run a straight service page. So they're putting their services on the home page. Now, I guarantee if I click into here, it goes to plumbing. See, their structure gets dirty, but let's not worry about structure right now. So let's just do 33971. All right, so this is Lehigh Acres. I come into here. Oh, there's too much of a jerk circle. I don't want to get through all that. Let me figure out another one here. How about Orkin? I believe Orkin has pretty good. They revamped their site, though. So let's go to Orkin. I'm looking for a really good example or a nice example that I think does it pretty good. Okay, so when we're on here, so they're listing it as, okay, so here's their services up in here. They come inside of here. I click on ants. Let's do it here. Let's go to Orkin Fort Myers. Okay, now I have both of these. So I'm inside of here. They have it listed as locations. I probably wouldn't write locations. I'd write near me. I click inside of here. So we have locations, Florida. So they have a Florida page. Then they have Fort Myers Pest Control. So they're targeting Fort Myers Pest Control. So it's locations. That's their top level category page. I hope. So yeah, let me just look at this and make sure that it's how I would like to teach it, because I think that that's best. So the location should list out all of their locations. Again, I would use a keyword, and people have asked me about this. But Chris, why should we use a keyword when Orkin is using locations? Why shouldn't I just follow them? Because you're not a brand, you're not Orkin, right? Or whoever you're looking at, Home Depot, Homeadvisor. Like, we don't have that authority. We need to maximize every single page that we build out, okay? So I highly recommend keeping it as short and tight as possible, and also utilizing keywords within the structure at all costs if you can. If you can. So on the locations page, top level category page, it should list out all of my locations. Okay. Now let's just say, so this is their top level category page. I click on Indiana. It takes me to the Indiana page. Now, in my opinion, I don't think that you should follow the structure. In my opinion, what I highly recommend is when I'm on my top level category page, this is going to be near me. When I click on Alabama, it takes me to, instead of having locations still in the structure, no, that link should not have, why should I show less importance to my Alabama page? Maybe it makes sense to them because they have so much and they're making the size big. But when I click on that, it should take me to the Alabama AL page. For what reason? Because I'm sure your site's not going to get this big. If it is, hey, that's up to you. But what I recommend is keep this structure as short as possible. Now, when I click on that Alabama AL page, now I'm in Alabama, right? So now we can start, it's like, okay, well, where are you? Okay, are you in Anniston? And then it's going to take you to the actual keyword. So they're keeping it in the structure, and I don't recommend that. I think when I click on that Aniston page, it should take me to my location-based service page, which that's exactly what they're doing. We're targeting normal locations. So this is what we're going to do here. Okay. So let's see if we can keep this cleaner. Okay. And see if we can get a good explanation of this so it makes sense to a beginner. Okay. I'm going to try to explain this as well as I possibly can, because this can be difficult. I get this question a lot, even in like some of my groups, like guys that do SEO. This still comes up. So I want to make sure that we get a clear understanding of this. All right. So where are we at in the video? 137. Okay. So it's going to be 137. Okay. All right. So 137 in the video, just so I know, so I can chop this out and I can add in to the PDF. I can say, okay, go to this point. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just do a brief explanation. All right. So let's just go inside of here. Okay. So when we're targeting multiple locations with multiple services, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a brief overview of what I would do a little bit different, and I'll show you a live example of a nationally known brand called Orkin. So what I highly recommend is, again, keeping the site as flat as possible, showing the most important to the pages, because you shouldn't have a page unless we want to win it, right? So what I highly recommend is you're obviously going to have your home page, okay? And you're going to have your locations page, all right? Now, on your locations page, you're going to list out, let's just say this is your locations page. Your locations page is your top level category page. This is listed above inside of the PDF file that you're reading. Now, this top level category page is going to list out your locations. These locations could be, or you could have a drop down and it could go right to it. This is up to you. But if you want to use the top level category structure, we would call this the near. Okay, let's see if we can keep this as clear as possible. Oh, let's make this red. So you would keep this as you would actually name this, say, near me. Okay, so we can get a keyword in our structure. And this is our top level category page, which is for our locations. On our near me page, which is really our locations page, we are listing out each of the locations that we provide services in. So let's just say that we are doing, I don't know, New York, okay? We are also going to be doing Florida, okay? We might also have Texas, okay? Now, every hop, when we're doing our linking, should go to the actual page. Meaning, when I'm clicking on this, when I want to go over to the location page, okay, if there's going to be a lot of other locations, you'll have to structure it, okay? But you want to try to keep it as flat as possible. So if I click on my New York page, my actual New York page from the near me page is going to bring us to our next top level category page. So this is just the New York page, okay? And on this New York page, I'm going to list out the locations that I service. Now, these services are going, or these locations that I service could be, say, I don't know, Syracuse, okay? This could be Manhattan. This could be, I don't know, other location in New York, okay? Now, when I were to click on this page, it's going to literally take me to, we're just going to say, Syracuse, it's probably spelled wrong, but that's neither near here nor there. So this is going to literally take me to the Syracuse page. On this Syracuse page, I'm going to list out the services that I provide. It's probably going to be, you could be offering, say, pest control. You could be offering termite repellent, because we're going to be using Orkin as the example. Or we could be listing out our, I don't know what else they do off the top of my head, but we're listing out the services for Syracuse. Okay, so when I click on this, this is the last hop. If they were to click on this, when I click on this particular link here, okay, this is going to take me to Syracuse. I probably spell it wrong. I don't care. Syracuse termite control. All right. So the actual URL that I land on, again, is going to be website.com/Syracuse termite control. I hope that makes sense to you. So from the very beginning, this is the locations page. All right. So we're on website.com/near me. Okay. Now, when I'm on this page, that's this page right here. All right. On this page is listing all of the locations that I service: New York, Florida, and Texas. All right. I click on New York. When I go to that New York page, it's going to be, when I click on New York, it's www.website.com/New York. All right. Now, if you want to make your main pages, if you want to, I generally do, depending on how big the site's going to be, I generally will toss a keyword in there. Now, this is massively dependent upon, did I use a partial match, an exact match, or did I use like a branded name website? If it's a brand name website, then when I'm doing this, I'm going to do, exterminator. All right. Because again, each of these pages are standalone properties. Google ranks pages, not the site. So when I click on this, when I'm on my near me page, it takes me to near me. When I'm on the near me page, I'm listing out all the locations that I service. I click on New York. I go right over to website.com/New York exterminator, or you can make it just New York. It's up to you. So when I click on this and I'm on New York exterminator, this is the New York page. I can see on this page that Syracuse is listed. Oh, I'm in Syracuse. I click on the Syracuse page. When I land on it, it is www.website.com/ New York. All right, so it's going to be New York, probably just New York, and it's going to be Syracuse. Okay, this is probably where you're going to want to do this, okay, on this particular hop here. Or if you really want to, you can keep it flat yet again. Generally, you're going to say New York, and we're on the Syracuse page. When I'm on this Syracuse page, if I click on one of these services, it's going to take me to, and I wrote it out, website.com/Syracuse termite control. Let me show you a live example. Now, they're not keeping the structure as flat as possible like I recommend. On pages that have value, the near me page, on a New York exterminator page, they could have done this just slightly better. But again, when you have the authority, if you get up to like a DA65, DA70, DA80, and two, when they probably launched this site, they probably kept the structure all these years. But let me walk you through a live example here. All right. So let's start out here. So let's say Orkin, Fort Myers. Okay. I'm in Fort Myers. I go out here. All right. I land on the Fort Myers page. Okay. So when I'm on my Fort Myers page, or better yet, how about this? Let's start at the very beginning. My mistake. So I head out here to Orkin. All right. I look up Orkin because I have a infestation of termites. Okay. So I have an infestation of termites on my website, or in my house. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm probably going to be looking for the location. Like, oh, do they service me? I see that they offer termite control, but do they service me? So I'm very surprised that they're not. Oh, they are. They're doing it here. So I believe it's 33971. That might be Lehigh Acres, which is right next to it. So I'm going to say, well, I have termites, and I could click on termites, which is the service page, or I can look for it. I'm going to head out to the locations page. Oh, they're in Fort Myers. Great. I'll go over to the locations page. I'm inside of this locations page for Fort Myers, and I'm like, well, I have termite problem. I have termite control problem. I click on that. It takes me over. See how they see on the page that they want to rank, they kept it flat. I hope that this makes sense to you. I get this question so much. When they want to rank a page, they made sure to keep it flat. This is termite control. Now they could go for just termite control. They can, but I wouldn't, right? Like I would want to make this, you know, termite control Fort Myers or Fort Myers termite control. But I just wanted to show that when on pages that they want to rank, they're keeping the structure flat. I wanted to just show how they're doing that. That's all I wanted to do. Let's take it from the other way though. Let's say that I'm like, okay, I'm not forcefully like I am personally right now looking at locations. Let's say I come to the website and I click on termite control. Is it going to take me straight to just orkin.com/termite control? Let's go here and see. So if I come over here and I click on this, it should take me right to termite control. Now, on the termite control page, I'm like, oh man, they offer my service, okay, but do they offer it near me? So 33971, I come over here, I'm like, oh man, enter my home address, 4211 3rd Street West, Lehigh Acres, Florida. All right, so I'm going to Lehigh. It should give me that same address, or it's going to take me to a quote. I'm not sure. All right, so they have another system. I was hoping to lead right into, if I'm only targeting one state, I would do exactly what they're doing here. If I'm only targeting one state, I would just list the services. I would only list the services, and then I would get into, say, like for this example, I'm going to Fort Myers. I'm going to Lehigh. They're all in Florida, but it's based on, I would just list a service page. So here's how I would go about this. So if you're in one state but you want to target multiple areas, it's even easier. And this is generally what I run across. So here's what I would do. So if I'm inside of one state, all right, here's what I would do. If you're in one state, you're probably going to have your home page, okay? You're going to have your, let's call it services. Your services page should be called something that you provide. So you're probably, I don't know, let's just stick with this. So let's just say it's pest control, okay? So this is my pest control page. Now when I click on the services page, it's taking me over to pest control, okay? So these are the services that I provide. Now on this page, I'm listing out each of my services, okay? So this could be termites right here. This could be ants. This could be wasps. This could be whatever, so on and so forth. Now I'm going to write this one out because I want to just show a representation. I'm on the pest control page. I click on ants, okay? I'm like, oh man, I got ants. From this ants page, all right, the ants page is going to take me to the actual www.website.com / whatever the keyword would be that would have volume. Let's just for sake of creating this particular diagram here, we're going to call it ants, okay? Now I'm on this ants page here. Inside of this ants page, I have my main content that's talking about ants, right? But here in the sidebar, or over here in the secondary footer, right? What I'm listing out is my other locations, or the locations that I provide. So keeping it true to the last example, talking about Florida. This could be Fort Myers. This could be, I don't know, Lehigh Acres. This could be Cape Coral, Naples, Punta Gorda. Okay, these are all towns all around the same area. Now, when I'm on my www.website.com /ants page, when I click on the Lehigh Acres page, from the ants page, it's going to take me to, and this is the final URL, the final page, which is the page that, again, this is probably what we want to rank, okay? It's going to be www.website.com/ants, I don't know what the keyword is, ants control, and what did I say? Fort Myers, okay? Or whatever the variation is of the keyword that has the volume. I hope that this makes sense to you. I really do. I hope that this makes sense to you. So this is covered extensively. I can't cover it anymore, but I do feel that it's important. All right, so that is taken care of. So multi-state or just multiple locations in same state. So when doing keyword structure mapping, we need to first be aware that we are going to be targeting multiple states, or are we going to be targeting multiple locations in the same state? Okay, so we took care of that service, multiple locations inside the state. I want to just create a service page. Please revert to the video for further explanation. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. So that's going to be that. So we took care of this. We took care of our keyword structure mapping, right? So like I walked through that at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Okay, the very first thing that I do is I'm doing keyword website structuring is I want to open up my Sheets file and I want to lay out. Okay, so really I want to lay out the filler pages talked about above. Okay. This includes the contact page, facts page, and any other needed page that is not a commercial intent web page, but is needed to further fill out the website. Okay. Now, we talk about that here. I laid out all of those filler pages. We talked about finding the keywords. I showed that exactly. Hey, we know our services, we know our locations. Let's figure out where the volume is and start mapping out your locations. So now that we've done keyword research, so let's just go through this really quick here, just so in my mental note I can see where we're at. So we're laying out our technical foundation. We bought our .com domain, okay? Or, I'm trying to get a .com. I want it to be branded or be a partial match, something that makes sense, okay? I've taken care of my hosting. I've ideally bought a VPS, or I'm using, say, Amazon or Google Cloud. So I have my hosting on a .com, right? I talk about the hardware, how to make sure that you're getting something fast, all right? I talked about where to get good hosting from. Hardware to look for. I quickly went over like CPUs and RAM and hard drive sizes. Okay, I gave a small recommendation to do this, so it just takes care of all that. It just fast and works. In my opinion, these are all my opinions. We talked about keyword research. Really, at the end of the day, we're not creating pages other than our filler content, other than our baseline content that is not targeting a keyword that has volume or some type of commercial intent, unless it's supporting content, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Since you already know location better, so okay, so we've talked about, that was a large explanation. So keyword research and page structuring together. This furthermore goes through laying out the filler pages like contact and facts, along with the services and the locations that we provide, creating those pages and creating them together in a spreadsheet first, laying out and visualizing the actual website first before you start literally laying down anything. Next, we build out the structure in the beginning of keyword research. I talk about what are filler pages, because they're mentioned numerous times. Like, what are they? How are they used? Like, what's the point of them? Next is homepage. Keep it branded unless you're only sell one product in one location. So I talk about laying out your homepage, keeping it as branded, having your locations, services. Again, I'm just reiterating to myself here. Don't use keywords no one's looking for in your URL. So when I'm laying out the website, I want to make sure, hey, I'm targeting specific keywords that are going to bring me traffic or informational based content in order, again, to bring traffic. So we're talking about top level category pages. I also give examples like backlinko. You know, when I go on his blog and I click on it, doesn't follow the structure. It takes me right to the page I want to rank. Okay, so we talk about that. Planning site structure based on keywords. Again, I'm really hammering this home in the keyword home section. We're planning out the website and targeting keywords that actually matter. Okay, now we're doing the keyword structure mapping. Literally how I lay it out, I did that in sheets. Like, okay, we're going to put the home page here. We're going to put our location page here, but we're going to name it near me. Okay, we're going to build our top level category pages. Here's our locations. Here's our service. I gave an example. I even gave a visual example. The next step is the multi-state or multi-location. You know, when I'm figuring this out, I need to know how this goes into structuring. This goes into keyword site structuring, in my opinion. It's like, hey, am I going to be going multi-location? Is this going to be in one state? Is this going to be multiple states, right? Is this a national campaign? Is this a crazy campaign? Or am I just targeting cities and towns and municipalities in the same state? This all goes into my keyword structure mapping. It needs to be thought about extensively before I lay out any coin on anything else. The next thing that I'm going to do is I need to be able to get, you know, once I have my structure out, once I have the technical taken care of, I need somebody to write my content. Okay. All right, so now we're going to start talking about content. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay. I need to use the bathroom. Always happy to watch. Awesome. I assume that no one's enjoying this. Nobody gave me a like. I have to use the lavatory and get some water. When I come back, we're going to talk about content, creating content, what I feel is important, especially for you as a beginner. What would I do in order to get this going? We'll talk about that in a minute. And of course, I'll give you live examples. All right. Now, what we're going to get into now is we're going to talk about content. All right. Now, okay. The very first thing that I want you to understand is that Google cannot read. Also, I need you to please note that duplicate content on your own website will not get you in trouble. With that being said, quality is subjective to the reader. Google is not a human. So this walkthrough, this guide, this PDF you're reading is based on optimization. So what I want to do first is give you the most important places to make sure that you put your keyword. After I discuss the most important places to put your keyword, if you put your keyword in these specific places and make sure that you add the elements like I will discuss, you will be ahead of 75% of the people in most local industries competing for your SERPs. Below, I will give you multiple ways to go about creating content and optimizing your content. I will give you a completely free way that you can do in order to optimize your content. Along with that, I will also give you some paid solutions to help speed up the process of on-page optimization. And last but not least, I will give you recommendations on services when buying content and what you should be looking for. Without further ado, I want to go ahead and just put into this file the 5 most important places to make sure that your keyword is placed. Number 1, your URL. Number 2, your title of the page. Number 3, the H1 of the page. Number 4, in the first paragraph of your page, under the H1 tag. See, it's a toss-up for me on the last one. So we have it in the URL, we have it in the title, the H1, and then in the body content, right? Once you do this, I mean, you're pretty good, but I want to give one last one. That's why I said 5, because I want to give that last little oomph. Like, where's one more place that I want to make sure that I get it? Number 5, Number 5, inside of an anchor text on the page. By getting your primary keyword into these sections on your website, web page, you are essentially optimized for the keyword, other than making sure that you have all the other elements that are needed in order to meet the SERP's requirement. The other most important things to take into consideration when optimizing and being ahead of 75% of people you're competing with is focusing on these next optimization elements, period. Okay. Number 6, co-occurring keywords or LSI keywords. These are words that are often talked about when speaking about a specific topic, period. Let me give you an example. If we're talking about kitchens, an LSI term or a co-occurring keyword will be words like sink, refrigerator, stove, blender, cabinets. LSI and co-occurring keywords are essential for ranking, aside from having the exact match of the keyword that you're trying to rank for. The very next thing that I want you to know is having your exact key phrase on your web page the right amount of times. That's optimization. But having co-occurring keywords or LSI terms and entities on your page, this is relevance. When you want to have a superiorly ranking web page, we need to make sure that we are counting against our top competitors, weighing how many times they use their exact key phrase along with how many co-occurring keywords they have, and the amount of entities that are noted within the web page, if we are to have this perfect harmony of exact match keywords, LSIs, and co-occurring keywords and entities, we are now 85% ahead of everyone else competing in the same SERP. Number 7, entities. Entities are much like co-occurring keywords and LSI words. However, based on neurolinguistic programming, these are the most relevant words or topics, people, places, things that are talked about when optimizing for a specific keyword or phrase. Counting the entities, having the right amount of entities within the article is essential for ranking just as much as the exact keyword and co-occurring keywords or LSI words. Number 8, anchor text is the next most important element to make sure that we have on our web pages. Taking a look at our leading competitors and matching the amount of keyword-rich anchor text within our anchor text tags is the next most important thing to make sure that we have our pages optimized for. Period. Number 9. Let me think to myself here. All right. So we did URL title, H1, first paragraph, anchor text. Getting the keyword into the sections. Number 9. These are in no particular order. Okay, so what we did here is in no particular order, the most important on-page optimization elements to understand, okay? So as a beginner, these are the things, these are the places, this is what we need to know. This is a thing too that I want to make sure that it goes into my content. Another often misunderstood notion is having a page. One page, one keyword. Another misunderstood notion is that we are tuning our pages for more than one word. Your website and web pages will rank for a magnitude of different words. However, when you're creating and structuring your web pages, it's one page, one keyword. For example, I have a website, and I get this so much, like, oh, shouldn't we, like, you can get your secondaries into the other heading tags, but the page is truly only optimized for one keyword. For example, okay, so your key places to place your exact match keyword, H1, title, URL, amongst other places, this is optimized for one specific phrase or keyword. So to give this example, you're not going to put https / website.com / best blenders of 2021 and 2020 to help with I don't know, paleo diet under $35 near me, right? Like, you're not going to do this, okay? Okay. However, okay, but okay, you will do this, right? So you will do this. Okay, so this is what it is. So it's https website.com. All right, I would assume that the site's about the paleo diet, and this is gonna be like / best blenders, best blenders. I would pick probably 2021, and then on that page, on your page, you will talk about paleo diet 2020 and 2021, along with pricing under $35. By having the words on the page and in headers, you will rank for more keywords. Period. End. Paleo diet, the paleo diet, it's no S. Paleo diet, along with pricing under 35. By having the words on the page and in heading tags, headers, I'll just put heading tags, headings, you will rank for more keywords. One page, one idea. If it's a new concept or new topic, not a subheading, create a new page. This comes up so much. Okay, for example, this is actually its own section. This is so important because I know that, you know, like people, I think people, I mean, I understand a lot of people understand it, but this is often misconstrued. Like, oh, I thought I wanted to rank for more keywords. Well, you do, but you're optimizing for blenders of 2021. And then inside of there, you'll talk about, hey, this is the best blender for the paleo diet. These blenders are under 35 bucks. These blenders are, you see what I mean? But if it's a new topic, then you need to create a new page, okay? You're not going to optimize the page. And then what are you going to do? You're going to make this your, you know, your title, your H1. You're going to talk about that throughout the whole article. Like, no, we want to tune the page, one keyword, one idea, one topic. If it's a new idea, it's a new page, okay? Now, if it expands onto it, right? Like if we're doing, say, blenders, we can talk about our blenders. Then we could talk about plastic blenders. We could talk about glass blenders, right? We might even be able to talk about the cheapest glass blenders and the cheapest plastic blenders. But now if we start talking about paleo diet, we could have a page on there talking about the best blenders for paleo diet. But if we start talking about the paleo diet, inside the paleo diet page, we could talk about blenders for the paleo diet. But it just doesn't make sense. So you just have to think a little bit about it. And I hope that makes sense, and I hope that it's helpful. But let's do this last one. So this is it. Anchor text is the most important element. Anchor text is the next most important element to make sure that you have on your web pages. Taking a look at our leading competitors and matching the amount of keyword-rich anchor text within an anchor text tag, not tax, is the next most important thing to make sure that we have our pages optimized for our keyword. Okay. All right, so this is essential. This is very important. So we talked about entities, LSI, co-occurring keywords. These are the top 5 places. Anchor text tag, H1, okay. We talked about entities. We talked about LSI and co-occurring keywords. Anchor tags, entities. Okay, now number 9 is heading tags. Heading tags are one of the most important elements on the page. Having the right amount of heading tags compared to the competitor is very important. Along with having the right amount of heading tags, we also want to know, out of those headers, how many of them have our keyword in them. Okay, we'll do a walkthrough on that. I'm going to explain that, and we'll talk about tools too. In the video, I will walk through counting heading tags along with counting the amount of optimized heading tags. This is essential for ranking. Number 10. In the video, I will cover all of the other minute details for your on-page optimization efforts. I will be walking you through a completely free way other than your time to go through and do the math, meaning counting and optimizing to the SERP of your competitors, period. I will also give recommendations on tools that will help aid with the counting of the elements. Such as, for example, heading tags, word counts, the amount of photos, do they have a video, and so on and so forth, period. Okay, so this is, again, we have to note that this is a beginner's guide. I don't want to go too in depth. But, did I note anything in here? All right, so we're going to go through and we're going to give two. So this is just a brief little outline here. Oh man, this is a lot more words than I wanted it to be. But that's okay. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Hope y'all are enjoying this. If you liked it, please a thumb. If not, a down is perfectly fine as well. I hope that you're truly enjoying this. But hey, Amir, good to see you, brother. I